it's always wonderful to see that people are interested in that ancient, old-fashioned healing techniques that are available to us. I'd like to maybe start with maybe evocation, just so we can call spirit, right? We are doing with shamanic work, so we're going to call the spirit of the mountains. Imbabura, Kotakachi, and Muhanda, those are the mountains that are forming the Valley of the Dawn, which is where all these teachings come from. So just close your eyes and take a big breath in, and we will do some evocation. Moyorim yeja hawa kotita, moyorim yeja hawa kotita, imbabura kotakachi muhandita, sakwan pogyo kantajo, kantajo, kantajo. Moyorim yeja hawa kotita, imorim yeja hawa kotita, imbabura kotakachi muhandita, sakwan pogyo kantajo, kantajo, kantajo. Thank you. So, first of all, you're not here by coincidence, you're not here by mistakes, you're here because your spirit asked you to be here, and I'm really happy that you are listening to your spirit and to the guidance of spirit. That's probably what happened to me when I started to on that path. A little history about me. I was born in Israel for parents who were born in Belarus and Poland, and I migrated to the United States. And my teachings come from Ecuador and from the Amazonian Brazil. So what I wanted to basically say is that we all have the calling and we all have the wisdom inside us, and we are all indigenous of this earth. And if there is anything that I want to kind of convey to you this evening, it's really that we are all shamans, and we are all shamans in training. It's not something that it's come just for me. It come from my teachers who always told me that we are all indigenous of this earth, and we are all shamans. We all have the ability to dream. We all have the ability to vision. We all have the ability to heal. And when we talk about healing, we are talking about the possibility of making other people feel better and about themselves, to reduce stress, to help them be more balanced in their world. And when we talk about healing, some people think that healing is about curing diseases. This is not what the shamanic healing or any alternative healing is about. When we talk about shamanic healing, is that the ability to find the source core of anybody's disease. Or if you wanted to call it in a different way, it's about finding what the cause of the symptoms that you are carrying or other people are carrying. And a strong belief in the shamanic healing is that a soul loss, or the loss of part of your soul, is sometimes the major cause of sicknesses that we develop throughout the year. And soul loss come because of trauma, or an event that either you witnesses or you become afflicted by, or car accident or abuse or other traumas like that changes the course of your life, and you believe that you would not be able to achieve your balance or your full potential because of that particular trauma. So a big part of shamanic healing is the restoration of the soul, or soul mending, what we call, or in some places it's called soul retrieval, which is part of that, but it's also the soul integration and soul mending, I call it soul medicine. And when we talk about shamanic healing or shamanism, there is a belief that there is certain one way of doing shamanic healing. And we have to understand that shamanic healing is practiced throughout the whole world. There's nobody have a patent on that or one way of doing it. So it's not just Native Americans or not just the Celtic or just the South Americans or just the Brazilian. Each culture developed shamanic healing techniques or philosophy that is based on their own methods and geography and the plants and the minerals that exist around them. Shamanic healing is practiced from the time people walk on this earth. There is no time that shamanic healing or the medicine of the earth stop being practiced. And there is a renaissance today because many people are a little fed up with the medical institutions that we all understand that now we think that they are a must-have. But you have to remember that the medical profession, as we know it today, hospital and pills and all of that, is just a product of the 300 or 400 years. It's very new in the ability to take care of people. It's pretty new. The first hospital that was officially said it was in Siena. If you ever went to Siena, you probably saw that hospital. But it's only in the 1400s, so it's 500 years. But the pill itself, it's a product of 100 and something years ago. So what we call alternative healing is actually the medicine. What we call medicine today, we can call it alternative because it's an alternative to the way that we've done medicine throughout all generations. And I'm really happy that we are all here because we are understanding that we want to go back to what works. And what works is today, and that's really what this book is about, the Shamanic Healing, is to talk about the differences between the two systems, the allopathic medicine and shamanic medicine, because there is a belief or there is a brainwashing propaganda that only Western medicine works and other traditional medicine does not work. And I'm not saying that modern medicine does not work. It works in some cases. It works as a way of technology. It's a way of understanding our science. But what this book is about the ability to bring the two systems together. To remember that we are more complex than just taking a pill, that we need to find the sources of disease and the sources of soul loss, trauma, and others, that we need to combine both systems to work together. And the gist of all of it is that maybe one day we can have insurance companies paying for shamanic healing and for alternative healing, which is not a bad. It's not a far-fetched dream because 40 years ago people did not pay for acupuncture and Reiki and chiropractor and all of those things that today we are expecting to see in hospitals, but it is now part of the regular medical treatment. And so maybe it's going to happen in a few more years, but the idea here is that we need to integrate both systems together. What we call medicine of the earth and scientific soul and spirit. In the shamanic tradition, what we try to do when we do healing work is to remove the obstacles for the flow of energy in your body, to bring new balance into our bodies. And we recognize that some of those imbalances are created because of stress, because of curses, because of envy, because of other elements like that, because of certain belief system. that we create imbalance, and which is also associated with the imbalance between the masculine and the feminine energies in our bodies. And shamanic healing, really that's what they're trying to do, is to bring the body or the person into a recognition of accepting the parts that is denying. And so it's not necessarily that male is associated with men and female with women. We all carry both energies together, and to be healed is to recognize and to own the two parts of ourself, to bring them into balance. That was the purpose of the shamanic healing, is to bring our energies into flow. And if you come to this workshop that I'm going to be teaching, I'm going to explain more in details how that happened, and how do you opening up your nervous system, how do you working with the connection to the upper world, middle world, and lower world that is also connected with our bodies. Has anybody here done some shamanic work before? And raise your hands. Yeah? Yeah. Raise your higher. Don't be shy. So in the shamanic tradition, we believe that there are three different worlds: the upper world, middle world, and lower world, which is also the masculine energy, the alternative, middle of the world, and then the lower world, which is the Pachamama, the Mother Earth. So the work we do which is very similar to the work that in the Kabbalah, which is the sacred tree, is to connect the heavens with the earth, and we are the conduit to it. And in the same way that the masculine and the feminine energy needs to be reconnected and to be balanced, they need to be starting to talk to each other, to flow the energy between the upper world and the lower world, which comes through our bodies. So our legs are the roots. This is the connection, and this is God, or the upper world, the masculine energies. In the shamanic tradition, we are talking about the elements, the water, the fire, the air, and the earth, right? That's what we are working with it, and trying to bring them all together. And in the Andes tradition, there is a fifth element, which is called the Ushai, which is the element that contain all elements together, that brings all the energies together, and that is what we call God, or the ability to conceive the world in one big entity. So when we do the Limpia ceremony, the cleansing ceremony, the healing ceremony, what we are trying to do is to bring all these elements to talk to each other, to flow into each other. Those elements are also symbolized in our bodies. This is the air, right? The connection to the sun, the connection to the universe, the head. And then this is the water, this part of our body, the midsection of our body. This is the world that changes all the time. Emotions are moving and changing all the time. You can be happy one moment, and you can be angry the next one. You can be sad. You can be. These parts change all the time, like water, and they need container. And every water needs container, right? You can't have water without a river or a bed, a tool to contain the water. So this is the container of our water. And then we have the fire, which is our sexual energy. And that's called Nina, the Sukum Nina, which is the engine or the fire that motivates us to be more creative. And this is the life force. And then we have the earth, which is our legs. The legs are the roots that connect us to the earth to give us grounding. So the part of the healing that we do is to have a flow so we can stand strong on this earth, bring the energy of the fire, or the earth, or the mama, which is the Pachamama. You know Pachamama? Mother Earth? Mamma Tierra? Yeah? So we want to bring that energy, that magma from the earth, that gravitation force, that power, that ability to create life through our feet into the furnace of our body, which is right here. And most people, I'm not sure about English people, but most people, that fire is closed. Because in our culture, we learn not to be passionate. Because passion is bad, right? That's what the church said. So we need to light up the fire, to ignite it. And that's really the passion part, the feminine energy. And then we have to boil the water, the emotions, so we get excited, right? That water bring the energy of the steam, right? They bring it into the throat. And the throat is really where we have the expression. Because if we stay here but we don't talk, we get thyroid problems, right? So we need to express those feelings, those emotions that we have. And then once we express those emotions, we can start connecting to God, to Hatun Pachakamak, which is the great mystery. And then we go again. But most people in the spiritual community, they start to live from here up. They forget that they have body, fire, and roots. They want to be enlightened. But shamanic healing is not about becoming enlightened. It's about being grounded. Because the understanding is that without being grounded in reality, in the material world, connected to the fire, to your passion, you cannot get closer to God. So it's the flow of energy that comes from the earth, that you are feeling connected to the earth, to nature, to the animals, that bring that passion into your life. And when you have passion to your life, when you ignite that, you get excited. And then you can express that, and then you can get closer to God. Right? It's very important to understand that when one part of that experience trauma, let's say that in my case, for instance, I was told when I was young that I cannot talk because I was a very talkative person. I wanted to tell stories. I don't know if you read the book, you can read that. I wrote about it because it's so. So anyway, I grew up in a kibbutz, and the woman who took care of me said to me, I was overwhelming her, because I'm sure my grandchild does the same thing, but he wants to talk all the time. But she got fed up, and she said to me, Itzhak, God gave us a certain amount of words. If you're going to use them now, you're going to die. And I was 8. So since then, I basically closed my throat. I never expressed my feeling. I have a thyroid problem. I don't have thyroid problem because I don't have thyroid. But I'm sorry. But you understand how trauma happened. So I had a trauma that is connected to my self-expression. You wouldn't be able to see it now, right? Because I worked on it. So my healing was to reconnect with my passion and with my ability to express all of these things to you. Now there are many different techniques to do just that. And we talk about soul soul retrieval. We talk about the ability to connect with power animals and spirit. We understand that there are spirit, and I'm sure anybody here has experienced spirit. Yeah, raise your hand. Yeah, you have some. Good. So we do understand that. We understand that we have dreams that come true. Anybody had that here? Wonderful. So we have the ability to work with plants, with food, with the elements. There are many techniques to work on activating the nervous system, so the nervous system can go and work through in your body. We have a way to work with the drum to reactivate through different vibrations to activate different organs in our body, so they start to start to rejuvenate themselves. And the drum healing is wonderful because it gets to places where we can't do massage or go deeper in any other way, because sound vibrates. And we have sound healing, that we work with different musical equipment to communicate with different parts of our body. The lower tone of instruments go deeper into the earth, because it's earthy tones. It's heavier tones, and then we go up, and the higher tones we have, the whistles or the ocarinas, they are connecting you to the top, to the highest level, to your connection to God. And then we work with different materials of instruments. If it's conch shell provoke water, which is emotions. We work with ceramic, which is connecting to the earth. So this is more for grounding. We work with bamboo, which is connected to the joints, because bamboo have joints, and so each of the musical instruments have different purpose. So there is the sound healing, and then we work with oils, with different vibrations of oils and plants to activate the inner experiences. It's really a big field to say it in 25 minutes, but I'm trying. You understand? Trying to make it like really soon. But one other thing that I think that is very important with all of those different traditions, there are a few very common belief systems. And in the shamanic tradition, the belief system is that everything in the universe is made of energies. And it's very much like the quantum physics or quantum mechanics, that everything is vibrate with life. There is nothing in this universe that is not moving or full of life. And we call that movement, that atoms, or that part of atoms that are banging each other and creating tension between them, we call that the tension or the electricity, that we call that consciousness. And we have consciousness, so everything in this universe, in the shamanic belief, contain consciousness. And what shamans do with that's their work, is to send their intention, which is like a laser beam, or which is also vibrations, right? To communicate with the vibrations of everything that is in this world. And that's how we are learning from plants, from trees, from rocks, from all of those things that we think that they are dead. Like, for instance, this book, it's a book just because we call it a book, but it's really a plant. This is a plant, right? It's made of plants. Its paper is plant. So this is the spirit of the plant. And if I understand that, I can say that this is a book just because we shape it into this form. And the same thing as you. You are really not a you. You are really a collection of calcium, magnesium, water, mostly water, in a good day, if you drink enough today. But really what makes you you in the shamanic tradition is your operating system. And your operating system is your soul. The only thing that is really uniquely you in that belief system is your soul. And each one of us come to this world with a particular mission of soul purpose. And in my belief system, working for 22 years in that, we all have a unique mission to come here on this earth, and for that we choose the life lessons that we are experiencing in this life. And what we wanted to see how those life lessons are influencing our path on life.
Good question.
No, it's actually a very nice question. So I got into this path quite late. I was in late 30s, 40s. I had an advertising agency. I had a wife and 3 kids. And I got in many awards for my work. I was an artist. I showed in galleries and museums and all that stuff. I felt like I'm accomplished. But inside I felt dead. I felt like, what the hell I'm doing here on this earth? What was behind it? And then, so that led me for, which is like a typical midlife crisis, right? And I asked, why I'm here? And then one day I read a book, and that makes sense to me, and it was about a workshop on shamanism with Michael Harner. So I went and I enrolled to that because I accepted that there is some kind of guidance, or I don't know what it is. So I went to took this workshop, and in this workshop I started to see. I saw spirit, and those spirit led me to go into somebody else's body and to diagnose what's going on in that body. And I says, wow, I have that thing. And then I went to another workshop, and I went to John Perkins' workshop, and he talked about a trip that he takes to Ecuador, and I said, I gotta go. And I went to my wife. She said, "You don't have money. You don't have time. You have employees. What are you going to go to the jungle for 2 weeks?" And I said, "Yeah, I don't know why, but I have to go." I didn't know why. And I went, and I did ayahuasca, and I did some healing with a shaman in the Andes, and I had a vision. And in this vision, something happened. In here, the third eye was opened, and I started to see things I'd never seen before. Anyway, I came back a year and a half later. You have to understand that I'm very skeptical. I was like, you tell me this story, I would say, nah, like, yeah, cuckoo, no, that totally doesn't make sense. So for me, it was really a journey of accepting my gifts. So I came a year and a half later, and to that shaman again, and then I had this incredible vision, where I became an eagle, and I flew in the sky, and I fell into a lake, and then it was like something happened, and I was sharing this with this shaman, Don Jose Joaquin Pineda, who is my teacher, and he says, "Oh, this is the lake on the mountain. What shape of the mountain?" So I drew the shape of the mountain. And he said, "Oh, this is Imbambura." You remember the song that I was singing earlier? And he said that lake is the lake where I initiated my students. So I had the initiation without. Like in the spiritual world, he later on did it to me, but that was so for me. It was a journey in spite myself, because I really didn't believe in that. I was very skeptical. Like I was called, and I went back, and then I called and I went back, and then it took him 3 years to convince me to do this work. You know, I said, me? I've, you know. It's only 5 years ago that I realized, or that I actually learned, that my great-grandfather was a Kabbalistic rabbi and a healer. So, in many ways, I believe that part of you being here too is that your ancestors sent you here, your spirit. And I'm quite sure that a lot of your people here are coming from generations of healers or people who done healing for other people. And they want you to do that. And that's really the message that I get here, is that we are all healers and we all have to take responsibility to our gift that was given to us. And the more we take responsibility for that, which is very hard to do, I'm not saying that it's easy, the better the world will be, because we need so many people to do healing. I don't want to be the only one. I'm actually getting tired of it. We need people to step up and take responsibility and heal other people. The world is in bad shape, and we need more people to take responsibility to heal other people. Does that make sense?
Yeah, one small point. When you had all these visions and everything, how did you cope with the fear factor? It would terrify me.
Well, I got depressed for 8 months.
Depressed. Oh my God. Yeah.
Do you know why I got...
8 months depression.
Oh, I got 8-month depression. You know why? Because I could not bring this to thought that the world exists outside of me and you can't see it. I could not understand how the unseen and the seen world works together. Now I know. I speak to spirit. You know, I see spirit, so I see ancestors. I have a free dialogue with them, and I always check to make sure that it's correct. So I'll tell you a story. I mean, you can read it in the book, but any other questions? Yeah.
I looked at your website and I've seen like the different types of healing that you do. Which one would you recommend best for migraines?
So, migraines are caused by acidity.
Right.
No cheese, no coffee, no tomatoes, no pizza, no... Now, so this is one way of looking at it. The other part is you may want to check your neck to see if there is a flow, a pressure on your... So it might be that we need to work with needles to release that, to open up the nerve system.
Is it the pine needles that you...
Yeah, they are Takuma needles, okay. Yeah. I'm going to be teaching it this weekend, this technique.
I saw that. I want to enroll. I just came back from a trip. So
The one?
I've just come back from a trip, so I didn't want to enroll and didn't know when I'd be back. So I definitely want to
Come, because I can do that.
Okay.
And then the other thing that for people with headaches and migraines is work with the eggs.
With?
The eggs.
Eggs.
Eggs. Brown eggs.
Right.
Organic.
Okay. Right.
Doesn't have to be organic, but it's the eggs are absorbing energies. Each egg contains about 7,000 little pores on their shell. Did you know that? Mm. And you eat eggs every day, right? The eggs are used to suck energy, bad energy out. So if you have attachment, if you have headaches, if you have pain, it's just today we had a woman who had pain in her hips, and I worked with the eggs, and she went free, pain-free. So the eggs absorb negative energy through the pores, and you could actually see. I did that today. I showed it to Chris here. When you take the egg and you shake it, it's like very liquidy. But when you work on the body or your head, it becomes heavy. It becomes so heavy, it's like stone because the energy can go inside.
Raw egg, right?
Raw eggs.
Right.
And then you don't eat it. You bury it in the ground and you break it under the soil. So you can do that. There's a lot of people who come with many headaches, and you just work with the eggs to remove. So it depends.
Because I've taken the acidity out of my diet. I don't eat what you said, but I can't get rid of coffee. I have to have it in the morning. So
I would change it into Vayusa. Vayusa tea. By the way, tomorrow I'm going to do a ceremony, Vayusa ceremony, and Vayusa contained caffeine, but not the nervous caffeine that in coffee. It's very much like yerba mate, that it gives you stamina, but it doesn't give you that nervousness. And so switch to Vayusa and see if it works for you.
Spell that. Vayusa.
G-U.
I think we have to, we can take that later.
I'll ask him later.
Thank you so much for the talk.
You're very welcome.